In The Simpsons Season 5, Episode 5, Homer Simpson is subject to torture in hell. Now, what happens to him is that he is strapped to a chair and he has to eat donuts non-stop. And he actually finishes all of hell's donut supply. Now, how did he do this? I don't know. Could I do this? Probably not. I am but a mortal, and Homer Simpson is something more. That being said, I can do something close. Behold, Timmy's. Now get the money shot. Look at that. Oh, but that's not it. Last time we did 6. And you know what's better than 6? 12. Now, I am going to eat all 12 donuts in one sitting. And I'm going to watch YouTube.
2 hours later.
Triumph of engineering. At 35 times the size of Big Ben, it has the world's largest clock. With an estimated cost of $16 billion US, it's one of the most expensive buildings ever constructed. And at 600 meters high, it contains what is to this day the highest occupied man-made space on the planet. Seeing the tower rise above the city of Mecca, it's hard to get a true sense of its unbelievable scale. This building is in fact so huge that we need to take a moment to show it in comparison to the tallest building in Europe, the tallest building in the Western Hemisphere, the tallest building in Asia, and of course the tallest building in the world. In whatever city you place it, from Sydney to LA, this clock tower would utterly dominate the skyline. Construction firms from over 10 different countries worked on the skyscraper, including a German firm which designed the clock. But because of its location in Mecca, many of the engineers and architects couldn't visit the site. After all, only Muslims are allowed in the sacred city.
Mecca is very conservative. There's a passport control. There's like a border going into another country.
Some of the construction team, including glazing experts from Poland and Germany, converted to Islam so they could work on the projects.
The company Riva
one would refer to me as a glazing
Germany, and their owner, he converted to Islam during that project to be able to come on site and see for himself what's going on and what's happening.
This is the wild story of how one of the world's most unique and ostentatious skyscrapers was built. The Mecca Royal Clock Tower isn't just a hotel. It can't be. It's located in the heart of one of the most culturally significant cities in the world. This is Mecca. Every year, up to 3 million Muslims travel here to complete a pilgrimage known as the Hajj. Those completing the Hajj circle around the Kaaba 7 times. It's an ancient ritual that every Muslim must complete at least once in their life. This site is thousands of years old, extremely delicate, and constantly crowded. And just a few hundred meters away across the road was where this enormous hotel was set to be constructed. It's pretty much the exact opposite of a straightforward construction site.
It's right in the center of Mecca city, inside the first ring road, which is really the most congested area in Saudi Arabia. Then the center of Islam. All Muslims want to go there. You have the Holy Mosque with the Kaaba in the middle.
The religious tourism market is the second largest source of income for Saudi Arabia after hydrocarbons. It contributes some $12 billion annually to the kingdom's economy. That means that Mecca has the largest number of hotel rooms in the Arab world, far surpassing Dubai. It's perhaps then not a huge surprise that this enormous hotel would be constructed here.
And due to the nature of it sitting so closely to the Kaaba and in this very, let's say, sensitive environment, the client reached out to us and wanted to elaborate with us ideas on bringing more meaning to the building.
The hotel needed to be more than just a commercial building because of its location. It needed to be something spiritual.
So we started thinking about what such a building could stand for. And then one of the ideas that was created in those several meetings and brainstormings was that the main tower could function as the minaret of Mecca. At the time when it was planned, would have been the highest building in the world.
The hotel was originally supposed to be just 450 meters high, which would still have made it the tallest building in the world at the start of its construction in 2002. When the decision was taken to transform it into a grand minaret, the height was extended to 600 meters.
Burj Khalifa was not built yet, it was also in planning, and they, of course, then once it was clear that this tower would be 600 meters, they raised to 800 meters, took the record for that one.
But turning this hotel into an enormous minaret wasn't enough. The client wanted even more. Time plays an important role in Islam. There is, of course, the call to prayer that happens 5 times a day. The adhan is the first call to prayer and is usually made from the top of the minaret. The idea of then making this building into a clock tower as well came very naturally. Now, this clock would establish a new second time standard in addition to Greenwich Mean Time. All over the world, Muslims would be able to know the precise atomic time in Mecca. That would allow Muslims to begin holidays and special occasions like Ramadan simultaneously, regardless of where they are on Earth. But there was just one pretty massive problem. Half of the building was already built. By the time the Saudis wanted to extend the height and add that clock tower, half of this hotel was completed. The foundations were well and truly laid and had been designed for a 450-metre tower, not a 600-metre one. That limited the weight of the building to just 82,000 tonnes. For contrast, Shanghai Tower, which rises to a comparable 632 metres, weighs 575,000 tonnes.
So we went into checking the foundations, how were the foundations laid out, how were they calculated, what forces were they allowed to hold, and we saw that they have a lot of reserves in. That's a typical measure in Mecca, that all the buildings have a lot of reserves just for the sheer fact that there is so many people moving through the city and they want to be on the absolute safe side. And then together with a German structural engineer, Meyer Ludescher and partner, we started developing then an ultra lightweight structure that could be placed on top of this concrete tower.
The engineers and designers needed to create a tall, lightweight but strong structure to put on top of the existing hotel. Fortunately, history had already solved that problem. Rewind the clock to 1889, and Gustav Eiffel was planning to build the tallest man-made structure in time for the World's Fair. To build it high and fast, and to ensure it didn't sink under its own weight, he came up with the now iconic wrought iron framework structure. This allowed the tower to soar to new heights and redistributed its weight downwards to its base. The engineers of the clock tower began sketching their design by placing the Eiffel Tower on top of the existing hotel. They used high-strength steel and concrete.
I'm going to stop now. But you might say, oh, but he didn't eat all 12 donuts. Well, guess what? I am a person who is very charitable. Right now, I had 12 donuts, and I ate 5. That's a pretty sizable chunk. And I'm also thinking, there's other people in the house, and they haven't eaten donuts yet. So I'm thinking, why don't I share them my donuts? It's not that I can't do it, because there's no evidence that I can't do it. I am undefeated and undisputed. Good night.